Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever really stopped to think about why you pick one brand of coffee over another? Or, what is it that makes you click on one specific ad and not the 10 others you saw that day? Well, today we're going to dive deep into the fundamentals of marketing. We're going to strip it all back and see how those big, grand strategies turn into the everyday actions that, believe it or not, really shape our choices.
So, here's our game plan for what we'll call the marketer's journey. First up, we're going to nail down what marketing even is. Then we'll get into the core strategy, something called STP. After that, we'll open up the toolbox with the marketing mix, and finally, we'll look at how companies actually get to you using what's known as push and pull tactics.
All right, first things first, what in the world is marketing? Because before we can jump into all the cool strategies and tactics, we really need to get our heads around a massive, fundamental shift in business thinking. This was a change that altered everything.
Let's start with a little question for you. Just think about the last thing you bought. Anything. Why did you choose that specific one? Was it the price? The brand name? Maybe just pure convenience? Whatever the reason, the answer is tangled up in the world of marketing, which, you'll see, is designed to influence that exact decision.
Okay, so this slide shows a really critical evolution. For the longest time, companies operated with a sales mindset. Basically, they'd make a product, and then their whole job was to use aggressive ads and sales tactics to shove it onto people. But then, after World War II, a much smarter approach started to take hold, the marketing mindset. And this flips the entire script. The question is no longer how can we sell what we make, but instead, it's what do our customers actually need that we can make for them?
So here's the most crucial takeaway. Modern marketing is not about selling. It's about value. It's this whole ecosystem for creating something the customer finds valuable, telling them about that value, and then getting it to them, all while trying to build a real, lasting relationship. It's a complete 180-degree turn, shifting the focus from the product over to the customer.
Okay, so if marketing is all about meeting customer needs, how on earth do you figure out which needs to meet? That, my friends, is where strategy comes in. And I promise you, before a single dollar gets spent on an ad, every smart marketer out there is using a blueprint called the STP framework.
And this right here, this is the whole idea in a nutshell. You just can't be everything to everyone. Trying to shout your message to the entire world is not only crazy expensive, it's also super ineffective. The real goal is precision. Find the right group of people and give them exactly what they're looking for.
And here's exactly how they do it. First is segmentation. That's slicing up the entire market into smaller, more manageable groups that have similar needs or characteristics. Think of it like sorting a giant messy crowd into a few neat, like-minded circles. Next up is targeting. You look at those different circles and you choose the most attractive one, the one you're going to focus all your energy on. And finally, positioning. This is the big one. This is where you decide exactly what you want your brand to mean in your customer's mind. Are you the cheap one, the luxury one, the most innovative? That one decision will shape every single thing you do next.
So you've got your strategy. You know who you're talking to and you know what you want them to think about you. Now for the fun part. How do you actually bring it to life? It's time to get tactical and open up the marketer's toolkit, famously known as the marketing mix.
And here it is, the classic framework, the 4 Ps. Product, price, place, and promotion. Now, the absolute key here, the thing you have to remember, is that these are not 4 separate decisions. They are 4 deeply interconnected levers. You pull one, and all the others move. They have to work in perfect harmony.
Let's just break them down real quick. Product is, well, what you're actually selling. Price is what you're going to charge for it. Place, or distribution, is all about where and how your customers can actually buy it. Is it online, in a fancy boutique, a supermarket? And finally, promotion, or communication, is how you tell the world about it. We're talking advertising, PR, social media, the whole shebang. And all 4 of these must line up with positioning you decided on earlier.
But wait, it gets more complicated. Because the marketing mix isn't something you just set and forget. It has to evolve over time, which we can see with the product life cycle. Seriously, think of a product like it's a living thing. During the launch, sales are pretty slow as it tries to find its footing. Then in growth, sales take off as people start catching on. At maturity, sales hit their peak and competition is everywhere. And finally, you have decline, where sales start to fall off as new, better things come along. Just think of how DVDs got completely replaced by streaming. Your whole 4P strategy has to change for each of these stages.
Let's make this real with a quick example using price. So for a brand new product launch, a company might use a skimming strategy. That means setting a really high price at first to capture all the early adopters who are willing to pay a premium. You see this all the time with new tech gadgets, right? The complete opposite of that is a penetration strategy. You come in with a super low price to grab as much market share as you can as fast as you can, and basically scare off competitors. See? It just shows how 1P can be totally different depending on your goals. All right, now let's zoom in on that last P, promotion. How do you actually get your message out there and reach the customer? When you boil it all down, it really comes down to two core philosophies. Do you push the product towards them, or do you find a way to pull them towards you?
So a push strategy is all about bringing the product directly to the customer, a lot of times when they aren't even actively looking for it. Think about pop-up ads, or a salesperson in a store, or a big display at a trade show. It's about generating awareness and hoping for an impulse buy. Now, a pull strategy is the opposite. That's about creating such a strong brand and so much desire that customers actively go out looking for you. This is built through amazing advertising, creating buzz, getting great word of mouth. The goal is to make the customer come to you.
And here is a perfect, real-world example of a push tactic. The supermarket end cap. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That big display at the very end of an aisle. The French have a great name for it, the tête de gondole. Now, brands pay a ton of money for that prime real estate. And why? Because it physically pushes their product right into your path. It interrupts your shopping trip and grabs your attention. It is a classic and still incredibly effective push tactic. So there you have it. We've gone all the way from these high-level philosophical ideas down to specific tactics you see in a grocery store. Let's just take one final step back and see how this entire journey, from a simple idea all the way to a concrete action, fits together as one big, cohesive process. And that, in a nutshell, is the marketer's journey. It's a really logical flow that always starts with the customer. The strategy, your STP, gives you the game plan. The 4 Ps give you the tools to execute that plan. And then, things like push and pull are the tactics you use to get the message out there. See? Every single piece, from the big idea down to that store display, is connected. And that brings us to one last thought to leave you with. Now that you kind of have the playbook, which of these strategies do you notice most in your own daily life? Are you being pushed or are you being pulled? Once you start looking for it, I promise you are going to see marketing absolutely everywhere.
Thanks so much for joining me.